Welcome back to the MCDFNL Footy Show for another week. We've passed the halfway mark of the season now. It is all roads leading to September. From here on in, Sean Kelly's my name. Joining me this week, two becomes one. We're down to the one co-host, Scott Carey, unfortunately with other commitments this week. Sam Gowers standing alone in the co-host seat this week, mate. Well done.
I'm right up to the task, mate. Not a problem.
Good stuff, and your tips must admit right up the task last week as well. You've tipped a perfect round. I'll give you a little bit of kudos for that. Well done.
It's been coming all year.
Yeah, you must admit we promised it a lot.
Yeah.
Good to hear, mate. Let's see if we can do it again next week, but we'll get to that later in the show. We're also catching up with a couple of our kids that are headed for Cairns this weekend as part of the AFL Goldfields under 16.5 Far North Queensland trip, which we'll talk about later in the show. The last training session was this past Tuesday night here in Ballarat at Alfreton, and of course we caught up with a couple of the MCDFNL. 6 kids headed to Cairns representing the MCDFNL. We caught up with a couple of those, so that'll be for later on in the show. For now though, let's talk footy. Let's talk round 8 footy. Let's talk the game between Carisbrook and Newstead. Much touted this game, and in the end it's Carisbrook remaining undefeated, 14-16-100, defeating Newstead 6-13-49. Travis Cornwell and Big Nath, 4 goals each for Carisbrook, 2 goals to Matty Belton, the multiples for the Brook. All singles for Newstead on the weekend without Dan Christmas in the side. They struggled a little bit for a target up forward. Best for Carisbrook, Robinson, Gray, Bucknell, Anderson, Jeans and Tommy Wright. And for Newstead, Webster, Wall, Guthrie, Ash Webster, Lovett and Park. 8 goals to 1 in the first half, Sammy. It was pretty much done and dusted from there.
Yeah, pretty hard to head from there. Like we said, this has been much touted this year as the game of the year, basically. And Carisbrook's made Newstead look a little bit second-rate even, I'd say. Second
week in a row where Newstead have had a pretty heavy loss. From all reports, they didn't play well this week. They did have a lot of players out. Daniel Christmas didn't take to the field. We know that that Sam Kerr didn't take to the field as well. Tom Rees may as well not have taken to the field. He was average again. So, look, then they had some players out, but still, that's 2 losses in a row to probably the 2 teams that are the premiership favourites at the moment. So, little bit of a concern in the Newstead camp, you'd think?
I'd say so, and yeah, to take nothing away from Carisbrook's loss either. Win, sorry.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, they've done extremely well, and they're the team to beat now, I'd say.
They are indeed, Brook, undefeated, the only team so at the halfway mark. Pretty good game out at Talbot on the weekend in a game that the Hawks had to win. And did. 11-7-73, defeating Royal Park 9-13-67. Again, inaccurate kicking, just costing Bushy that little bit in the end. Matthew Sullivan and McRedmond, 2 goals each for Talbot as I put my teeth back in. Brendan Birch, 3, and Trent Pye, 2 goals for Bushy. Best for Talbot, Sullivan, Matt Smith, Fishwick, Nathan Smith, Gilmore and Clark. And for Royal Park, Chauvin, Ma O'Connor, Short, Birch and Mackay. Sammy, Talbot ahead of this one all throughout the game. A third quarter lull for both sides. No team scored a goal in either of the quarters. And then Royal Park came home pretty hard, but Talbot were able to ward them off.
Yeah, like you said, Royal Park will be ruining their inaccuracy in front of goals again this week. That's another chance gone begging for them. But like we said, Talbot had to win, and they did just that.
Yeah, I suppose Royal Park a little bit unlucky this week and last week. They've lost 2 games by a combined total of 7 points. Last year they would have fallen apart after a loss like last week, so good to see them come back up. But other side of the coin, if they'd have kicked 8 more points over the last fortnight, they could find themselves in the top 8 right now.
Yeah, and that's where I'm sure they'd love to be, as would everyone.
As they would, as are Navarre at the moment. And if there's an informed team in the league, more so than Navarre, I don't know it at the moment. They took on Harcourt on the weekend in what was billed to be a reasonably close game, and Navarre absolutely flogged them. 27-8-170, defeating Harcourt 7-8-50. Ben Scott, 9 goals for Navarre. Zane Bigmore kicked 7. Ash Driscoll, 3, and 2 each to Zach Parry and Louis Hannett. For Harcourt, Casey Williams and Matt Geary, they're only multiples with 2 each for the day. Best for Navarre, Scott, Bigmore, Loverson, Lee, Driscoll and Jaden Folks. And for Harcourt, Ling, Douglas, Gibson, Davis, Mack and Falazewski. Really good win by Navarre. There's not much more we can say about this one. They've humiliated Harcourt.
They're absolutely flying, the Grasshoppers. Zane Bigmore on fire up forward, as is Ben Scott. and they are looking very hard to stop.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be very interesting to see Carisbrook and Newstead go around again before the season's out. We know that they took each other on in the very first round of the season, where Carisbrook did have Anthony Koutafidis playing, but that's a game that I'm sure every MCDFNL fan is looking forward to coming up in a few weeks' time. Natty Bielaba took the trip out to Trentham on Saturday, where you said it wasn't as cold as you were expecting on Saturday out at Trentham, Sammy?
No, the Saints turned on a nice sunny day for us. It was good. A few blokes had the sunscreen on even.
Wowee. I must admit, I got a little bit sunburned at the footy on Saturday. So, Natty, 20 goals, 18, 138, defeating Trentham 4-28. Unfortunately, the Saints crashing back to earth after their first win last week. Ryan Weir, 9 goals for Natty Bielaba. Stagg, Perez and Douglas, 2 each for the Swans. Justin Hoffman, the only multiple goal kicker for Trentham, with 2 goals. Best for Natty, Weir, Gifford, Stagg, Perez, Douglas and Rothenberger. And for Trentham, Bruton, Canfield, Scoble, Smith, Cow and Whitmitz. Really good performance by Natty. And Ryan Weir, probably not the candidate you expect to see with 9 goals next to his name.
No, the Wizard, there's not much of him, but he is an outstanding mark for a bloke his size, and he loves a goal, so he's pretty happy with himself after the game on Saturday, as he should have been. Swans making a little bit of a resurgence after a slow start to the year. Yeah,
they are, and look, a really solid game by Natty. They kicked 6 goals in the last quarter, which against Trentham sometimes teams do take the foot off the pedal a little bit. Not Natty. They know that percentage could play a really crucial part. Coming into the latter stages of the season, they didn't take the foot off the gas at all.
No, and they've struggled probably a little bit so far this season to run out full games, so that's a good sign for the Swans.
Yeah, very good work by Natty on the weekend. Also some good work by Maldon, getting a win against a resurgent. We use that word again, Denali, who really took the game up to Maldon, and in the end it was the Bombers 16-14, 110, defeating Denali 12-8, 80. Half-time, not much in the game at all. It took a 5-2 final quarter for Maldon to really establish their ascendancy. Sean Birchall, 4 goals, as did Matty Kyle for Maldon on the weekend. Wayne Birchall and Jake Fitzpatrick, as well as Tom Kane, kicking 2 goals as well for the Bombers. For Denali, Ash Grant kicked 3, Bradley Shod and Murphy Longmuir kicked 2 each. Their multiples. Best for Maldon, Conway, Birchall, Tommy Horn, Wayne Birchall, Tom Kane back into the side and Hayden Kelly. And for Denali, Thompson, Jackson, Thompson, Longmuir, Laird and their coach Tony Ballinger. The best players from Maldon's side that found the challenge pretty stiff against Denali on the weekend.
Yeah, Denali must be up and running after that win against Rovers a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, they've taken it right up to Maldon, who have been a little bit shaky this year, it's got to be said.
Yeah, they have, but some really good signs in there. Obviously, as we said, Tom Kane coming back into the club. Tommy Horn's been a marvel for Maldon throughout the year. He's one of the kids that's going up to Cairns on this weekend, so he may miss for Maldon this week going forward. But I suppose they're doing what they need to do at the moment, Maldon, and they're consolidating. You don't want to be peaking at this time of the year. You want to be peaking in 8 weeks' time.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm sure Maldon fans would be pretty happy to see Tommy Kane back in red and black.
Yes, they certainly would. And Avoca played their first game at Avoca this weekend, halfway through the season, and Avoca finally get on their paddock, and they celebrated in style. Again, a close game in a bit of a shootout against Campbell's Creek, and it took them until the last quarter. There was, I think, 9 points in it at three-quarter time. Jared Hodder has kicked 2 goals very quickly for Creek in the last quarter to give him the lead. All of a sudden, it was like a machine gun style for Avoca. They went bang, 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 and shot out to a win. 20 goals, 16, 136, defeating Creek 15, 7, 97. Nath Coughlin, 5 goals for Avoca, 2 each to Kay, Schiltz, Bond, Britton and Martland. For Campbell's Creek, Chris Stone kicked 5 goals, once again continuing his fantastic form this year. And Jared Hodderis, 4 goals for the Magpies. Best for Avoca, Pilgrim, Britton, Coughlin, Martland, Dukes and Lockie Edwards. And for Campbell's Creek, Bennett, Smith, Hodderis, Stone, Climac and Shane O'Toole. Good win by Avoca when challenged in the last quarter, where in past weeks this year, we've seen when that's happened, Avoca's folded.
Yeah, and absolutely. I'd say Adrian Pilgrim sent a message to the boys and said we need to improve our last quarters, and that's exactly what they've done there.
Yeah, really good sign for Avoca. We were a bit worried about their final quarters, but they seem to have got that under control, and a good time to do it as they have a run in towards what we hope is a finals appearance for the red, white and blue, seeing probably not going to see a finals appearance for red, white and blue in higher grades of football, unfortunately for us, Sammy.
No, the less said about the Western Bulldogs, the better.
Yes, I agree with that at the moment. Love them dearly, but it's hurting at the moment. Now let's talk about Lexton's win against the Maryborough Rovers. Lexton 22-12, 144, defeating the Rovers 4-1-25. Matty Brown in form with 6 goals, takes him to 30 for the season for Lexton. Rob Mosby kicked 5 as well, and Phillips and Hind 2 each for the Tigers. All singles for the Rovers, Jardine, Bolger and Saudi and Hedger. For Lexton, their best players, Michael Jennings sneaking into the best. Very good to see, Mick. Paul Phillips as well as Johnson, Mosby, Hind and Oliver. Maryborough Rovers' best players, Monk, Jardine, Ritchie, Williams, Hoban and Mockridge. Heard a little bit from Mick about that BOG performance yet?
No, I haven't spoken to him. He must have snuck up forward seeing Lexton's had such a big win.
He didn't get on the goals though, so he might have... Oh no, he did. Got one in there, I must admit. He's done well.
Pretty rare to see him up forward, and I don't think he's had a real busy day at full back, so I'm not sure how he's got the best.
Yeah, he might have just snuck and played that half-back kind of role, which he does so well. Good win by the Tigers, getting them back into the top 4. Speaking of good wins, our junior interleague sides took to the park on the weekend. Ballarat District Junior Carnival at the Eastern Oval in Ballarat. Our under-14 side towed Central Highlands. Our under-16 side towed Central Highlands even more. Fantastic work by our football sides on the weekend. You can see the results on the screen at the moment. Well done to our under-14s. Jake Keogh from Trentham awarded the AFL Victoria Country Medal for the best player on the ground. And how's our under-16 score here? Absolutely flogging Central Highlands. Holding just 1 goal for the day. Kicking 14 of them ourselves. Bowden Rinaldi from Campbell's Creek, 9 goals. Absolute day out. A worthy AFL Victoria Country medalist after making his senior debut on the Saturday. Pretty big weekend for Bowden. Gets better for him too because he's headed to Cairns on Saturday as well.
I'm a bit jealous of the boys heading up to Cairns this time of year. It'd be nice to tag along.
Yeah, you and me both. Unfortunately, I'm about the only bloke in the office that didn't get the gig. So some of us have to stay back here and look after footy though. So
yeah, it'd be nice to go, but
yes.
Yeah, you need to keep the place running.
That's exactly right, mate. Someone needs to keep the home fires burning. Speaking of the AFL Cairns trip, as we said earlier in the show, we caught up with a couple of the boys headed up that way to talk about what they're going to expect in Cairns, what they hope to get out of the experience, and obviously mateships that they're forming with blokes from the Ballarat Football League and the Riddle District Football League. We'll be back after all that with all of this week's netball action. Welcome back to the MCDFNL Footy Show in the noisy AFL Cairns change rooms after the last training session. Here with me are 2 of the young guns that are going to Cairns on the weekend. Firstly, Tommy Horn from Melbourne. Tommy, welcome to the show. G'day. And Jared Berman from Carisbrook as well. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I'm feeling very, very short here, boys. How does it feel to be going to Cairns on a trip like this? Firstly, you, Tommy, who you've been playing some good senior footy this year, but how does this rate for you?
Yeah, pretty exciting, I guess. Looking forward to it.
Man of many words, Tommy Horn. Jared, what's your feeling around it all that?
Very excited, very nervous.
How's the training been? Obviously, we know 6 guys from the MCDFNL here, along with 6 from the Riddle Footy League and 12 from the BFL. Is it a case of making new mates and everything for you?
Yeah, it is, definitely. Just getting around the new blokes that we've never done before and just getting a lot of tips from the new coaches as well.
Beautiful. Tommy, you've been playing a lot of senior footy at Melbourne this year, mate. How you been finding that?
Yeah, good. Pretty good, I guess.
We've got you as very much a man of many words, getting water thrown at you and everything like that. Jared, what are you looking forward to the most up in Cairns?
Definitely playing in the big stadiums and playing with the mates.
Yep, it's going to be good too, obviously playing on a couple of really good grounds, Kazale's and Tony Island Stadium where they play the World So very much looking forward to it, boys. Looking forward to seeing how you both go as well. Thanks for coming on for the show today, Tommy. Good to see we can get a few words out of you. And Jared, less chatty, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck up in Cairns, boys. We look forward to seeing how you go. Let's cross back to the studio now. Welcome back to the MCDFNL Footy Show, and the boys pretty up and about, as we mentioned before the interview, as you would be about going to Cairns at this time of the year and escaping the negative degree mornings that we're having down here at the moment.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get up there in the sunshine, and good luck to the boys on their trip.
Yeah, it should be an absolute ripper. We'll have all of the reports from their trip on next week's show. But time to talk netball here on the MCDFNL Footy Show, and a great round of netball in round 8. Good game between Carisbrook and Newstead, with Brook getting up 33-30. Byrne, Rumpf and Stewart, the better players for Carisbrook on the weekend. Royal Park, a thumping win over Talbot, 56-23. Brigitte Sayers and Susan Kaleja, again fantastic for Talbot, but it was Laura Johnston and Juliana Sutton getting the job done for Royal Park. Navarre remain undefeated, but they had a bit of a challenge on the weekend up against the Harcourt side that did a pretty good job. 48-38 was the final score in favour of the Grasshoppers, but a good morale booster for Harcourt going forward. Natty Biella a big win against Trentham, 80-15. Paige Douglas, 38 goals in a best on-court performance for Natty on the weekend. Good win by Maldon over a Denali side that were up and about, but I tell you, Maldon are probably sneaking under the radar a bit this year. They're having a fantastic season. They won 36-13. Beck McKnight getting the job done once again, 19 goals. For Denali, Sophie McQuinn and Ash Lyric amongst their best players, and Denali probably needed that win because they won't have Ash Lyric, who of course is the reigning A-grade best and fairest, who, as we speak, is swanning it up in Europe.
Yes, headed overseas with Timmy Heenan from Carisbrook. Bit of inter-club love there.
Yes, going very nicely indeed. Avoca getting the job done as well, 47-13 on the weekend in the A-grade netball. Walkley, 18 goals for Avoca. And Lexington, the reigning premiers, getting the job done nicely against the Maryborough Rovers, 73-39. Rachel Phelan, again, fantastic. 41 goals in a best on-court performance. Quick look at the ladder. You can see it on the screen now. Navarre undefeated, top of the ladder with 8 wins. Natty Bielba and Maldon, they're swapping between second and third spot at the moment. They sit 7 wins and 1 loss, which doesn't matter if you swap between second and third, because in the end, if you stay in those spots, you play each other in the finals later on anyway. Carisbrook into 4th this week, 6 wins and 2 losses. They're a game clear of Lexington and Denali, 5 wins and 3 losses in 5th and 6th. Royal Park are 7th, 4 wins and 4 losses. They've got a game ahead of Newstead in 8th with 3 wins and 5 losses. Avoca, Harcourt and the Maryborough Rovers hot on their tails with the same win-loss. Talbot have got 1 win in 12th. Trentham have got 1 win in 13th. And Campbell's Creek yet to open their account in 14th spot for the season. Big round coming up, Sam Gowers, round 9 of the MCDFNL season, and some extremely interesting games that are taking place this weekend. We'll start with Newstead taking on Talbot. Newstead looking to rebound after a couple of losses in a row now and a couple of performances that they wouldn't rank amongst their best of the year, taking on a Talbot side that would be up and about after the weekend, and we'll actually probably be looking at this as one that they can pinch.
Yeah, they would be. I still don't think they've quite got the cattle to beat Newstead, who'll be out to atone for their couple of losses.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It'll be a close game. I'm giving Talbot the credit. I reckon they'll be right into the 3-quarter time, but I reckon Newstead will just pull away in the end to get the victory. Maldon taking on Trentham at Maldon this weekend. You'd figure Maldon would be morals for this one, Sammy.
Maldon play their home ground very well, and they'd be very confident of getting a win over the Saints there, I think.
Very diplomatic by you there, Sam Gowers. Royal Park taking on Lexington. Battler Tigers at Hedges Overland. As good a form as Royal Park have been in recently, bit of a different story coming up against the top 4 side this weekend.
Yeah, no, hard to go past Lexington in that one.
Campbell's Creek taking on Carisbrook at Campbell's Creek this weekend, and we know how well Campbell's Creek play their home ground, and I suppose a little bit of a danger game for Carisbrook if they're not on, but you'd imagine with the form that they're in that they should do the job pretty well.
Yeah, I can't see Carisbrook getting beaten there as good as Creek are at home. Carisbrook.
Avoca taking on the Maryborough Rovers at Avoca. 2nd game in a row at home for Avoca, and you'd think that they shouldn't have too many troubles in this one with their forward line starting to get into a little bit of form.
Yes, Avoca for me easily.
Harcourt taking on Denali. Very interesting game, this one as well, at Harcourt on the weekend. We know Harcourt coming off the wrong end of a toweling against Navarre on the weekend, and Denali starting to get better. The last 3 weeks have been extremely positive, so this could be a real danger game for Harcourt.
Yeah, Denali are starting to gel a bit more in the second half of the season, but I'd say Harcourt at home.
Saving the best for last this week, Sunday game out at Navarre. What a beautiful spot it is to be for a 1-out game out at Navarre where they take on Natty Bielba, and this will show us exactly where Natty's at and how much of a threat they're going to be come the end of the season, I think, Sammy.
Yeah, I'm finally going to turn around and tip against Natty and go.
Really?
Go with Navarre. They're hard to tip against at the moment.
That shows you, folks, how good a form Navarre is in, because he hasn't tipped against Natty against Carisbrook, he hasn't tipped against Natty against Newstead, but he has against Navarre.
Hard to argue with the figures that they've been putting up lately.
Yeah, I must admit that. They are flying at the moment of the Grasshoppers, as are you, Sam Gowers. You've gone 1 out in the co-host chair this week, and you've done a pretty good job, I must say. I think some feedback might come back to your fellow co-host that he might just have another week on the sidelines.
Yeah, he just needs another week of practice, I think. Just another week's rest.
Yes, indeed. And of course, he's not going to Cairns either, so he may be floating around next week on the show. We never know yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will indeed. Thank you for joining us for another week of the MCDFNL Footy Show. Enjoy your footy this weekend. We look forward to seeing you out at a Maryborough Castlemaine game. If not this weekend, over the next couple of weeks. Until next week, it's bye for now.